Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. Then we hit the field like, all day like, all night like, on the blue light, offense like, defense like, his squad like, house call like, and it sound like, and it sound like, and it sound like.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Friday, July 7th. Hopefully everyone had a good July 4th and enjoyed. Potentially if you had a four-day weekend, that would have been nice. I hope everybody had a great week. And we're gonna finish this week strong. We got a great show. We're gonna be talking about. We're gonna move on with our series of the top 5 groups position-wise in college football. Last week we did defensive backs. If you didn't see that, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel, The Short Sports Show. Go subscribe while you're there. We're almost at 1,400 subscribers. I appreciate that, guys. And you can check that out. Our top 5 defensive backs groups in the country in college football this season. This week, we're talking on the opposite side, and that is wide receivers. It's going to be very interesting who has the best receiving corps in college football for the 2017 season. The NBA free agency, it started this past week, and of course, NFL players have a problem with NBA players' contracts. Apparently, their desire to be richer is just it's insane for them. They need it. So we'll talk about that. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is being accused of faking autographs. We'll talk about that very interesting topic. And Russell Wilson heading back to his roots, going to start his own quarterback academy. It all started for him when he had his own experience at the Peyton Manning Passing Academy back in Louisiana at the time, and his experience about that has now created his own academy. So we'll talk about that. A lot of interesting things to talk about. I'm excited. Of course, as always, we will start with college football news first. But before we do that, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Links are all in the description, no matter where you're listening, on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, YouTube, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud. Man, we're everywhere. You know where it is. Just type in The Short Sports Show, find us, like us, and share us. All right, going on to college football news. A very interesting matchup. We'll have to wait a few years, but a very interesting matchup. Notre Dame and Arkansas have scheduled a home-and-home series for the first time starting in 2020. They announced on Thursday the first game will be played September 12th in South Bend, again in 2020. And then the second game will be, of course, in Fayetteville, but that won't be until 2025. So a 5-year gap in between that. But still, Arkansas and Notre Dame, it's never happened in history in football, and it really should. Again, it's hard to predict 3 years from now, but the way these programs are, of course, Notre Dame's always going to be Notre Dame. Arkansas, they go through their ups and downs, but it should be a really good matchup either way. Now, Notre Dame has recently added 2 other SEC opponents in Georgia in 2017 this season and 2019, and Texas A&M in 2024 and 2025. Now, Arkansas, check this out. This is a pretty interesting stat. Arkansas is one of 4 SEC programs that have never faced Notre Dame. That goes along with Auburn, which I don't know why. I would assume Auburn and Notre Dame would have played each other in some type of bowl game back in like the 70s or 80s or something. And then you got Kentucky and Mississippi State. So that'll be fun. Now, Notre Dame's athletic director, he was expressing his interest in really any program that they haven't played before, being a first-timer. I am hoping, it's always been rumored, but I am hoping a TCU Notre Dame matchup. That would be fun to watch. I have a feeling, though, even if they scheduled it a home-and-home, the year before it happens, it would be placed in Jerry's World to play at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, which, again, is not bad, but at the same time, what's the point of having our own stadium if we're just going to have all the big games in Jerry's World? But hopefully a TCU Notre Dame matchup, that would be fun. That would be fun. It's never happened. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Again, last week we talked about the top 5 defensive back groups in the country for the 2017 football season. Now we're going to be talking about the opposite side, the guys are going to be going against week in and week out, and that is the receiving corps. Now, again, this is top 5, and this is all projected up this upcoming season. A little bit of stats from last season, what they got going. We're going to start off strong here with number 5, the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, the slot receiver duo of Devin Ross and Jay McIntyre, who combined for 1,199 yards on 101 catches and 6 touchdowns last season. You tag that along with another top slot, a speedy receiver in Shea Fields, as well as talented incoming freshman Katie Nixon. And this team really shouldn't miss a beat, but it is still relying on who is going to be the quarterback. Seifu is now gone, and unless they get a guy who could step up immediately, it's going to be tough for this group to perform, but I have enough faith, and I trust these wide receivers, a senior-led team, to get the job done. And I think Buffalo's might still shock some people. I think they're going to be thinking a little bit down here, especially after a terrible bowl performance against Oklahoma State. I still have them in the top 5 as the number 5 team. We go over to number 4, and last week we talked about Alabama reloading every season. Well, they're going to do it again here at wide receiver. Now, Calvin Ridley didn't have the best sophomore season last year. You could even call it a sophomore slump. But with Alabama getting a new offensive coordinator in Brian Doble, who comes from the New England Patriots, he was offensive coordinator there. He created a ton of mismatches with Rob Gronkowski, and Julian Edelman. He should be able to do the same with Calvin Ridley, who is still one of the best wide receivers in the country. You got Robert Foster, Trayvon Diggs, who should be able to also make some amazing mismatches. And maybe this offense changes a little bit. They go from a dominant running game, and maybe they open up the passing game now with Brian Doble at helm for the offensive coordinator position. Main thing is, of course, this always kind of goes back on the quarterback, and that's Jalen Hurts. If he can keep his eyes downfield just a tad bit longer, maybe we'll see more breakout plays by Calvin Ridley and his company. Moving on to number 3, and this was really tough. Really, 2 and 3 can be a 2A and a 2B, if you want to call it. So don't get too offended, but this was a very, very tough decision. In this one, I'm going with the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, they're quickly and quietly becoming wide receiver U. Just look at this. They've replaced top receivers one after another. And this is just the ones that came off the top of my head. But Kenny Stills, Ryan Broyles, and now D.D. Westbrook. And the list goes on and on with others. Next in line can likely be some transfer players. You got Kentucky transfer Jeff Badgett, who is a very speedy guy who could make some mismatches. And you got JUCO transfer and a very intriguing player in Marquise Brown who comes in. You tag that along with one of the, if not the top tight end in this class in Mark Andrews, and Baker Mayfield has a pretty easy stretch for his Heisman campaign. And it was very tough to have Oklahoma putting them at number 3. Again, you can list it 2A, 2B, whatever you want to do. But coming in at number 2 is the Clemson Tigers. And the reason I have Clemson over Oklahoma, again, this has nothing to do. We're not looking at the quarterbacks and what's projected stat-wise. It's just overall skill that these players have. And the reason I have Clemson over OU is because I believe that Hunter Renfrow and Deion Kane are much better NFL prospect wide receivers and actually will produce more in the future, again, overall skill-wise, than a lot of unknowns at Oklahoma, but they still have a lot of potential. So that's why I'm going with Clemson at number 2. Ray McLeod is also a really good player. And also, look out for Clemson and their freshmen who should get all ACC honors here, and T. Higgins and Amari Rodgers. Both of these guys, again, very intriguing players at the freshmen, and them coming in. It's going to be exciting. That's why I do have Clemson at number 2. Now, at number 1, this was really easy. This is clear cut and above number 1 position. And that is the Oklahoma State Cowboys. It pains me. As a TCU fan, it pains me. But James Washington is by far the best slot receiver in college football. Watching him in person and just watching Oklahoma State games and him just torching My poor TCU defense. This guy is explosive. He's just everything and anything. 6 foot, 205 pound senior. He came back. He could have gone in the NFL draft. I don't think he would have been a first rounder, but it was a good decision by him to come back, as likely if he produces what he did last season, he could be a first rounder in 2018. Now, he caught 71 passes, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns last season. And that was, again, ton of receivers for Oklahoma State. Jalen McCleskey, a guy who's very underrated, not talked about a lot, should have another 1,000-yard season after hauling in 73 passes for 812 yards and 7 touchdowns. Now, they lose some of their tight ends. Blake Jarwin was a big guy. But they also get a good LSU transfer in Tyrone Johnson, who should add to the experience of this team. Of course, having one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Mason Rudolph also helps the production as well. But we're looking overall skill in these guys, and James Washington just boosts this team so much more. And the explosiveness this guy has is just incredible. Watching him at the Alamo Bowl against Colorado and what he was able to do play after play, and it's like they just knew it was coming. He was just going on a vertical, and it just kept happening. He kept catching him. Mason Rudolph, Baker Mayfield, these guys need to be appreciative of the receivers and the talent they have and the weapons they have. They have the easiest stretch for a Heisman campaign that, it's going to be interesting. They'll obviously have to play each other, Bedlam rivalry. That'll be fun. Likely one of these teams will be the Big 12 champion and going on to the first in a long time Big 12 championship this year. Did I leave your team off? Tell me why your team has the best receivers in college football for this upcoming season. I like to know. Tweet me at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Moving on to the NFL. Of course, the NBA free agency has started, and every year we go through this. NBA, we see the NBA contracts, and I mean, for some players, we're just like, why are they getting that much money? I mean, they're like, it seems like they're average players getting all-star money. Well, the NFL players have continually just been watching, and apparently being rich is not rich enough when they see NBA contracts. So many NFL players took to social media and vented out their frustration of just not having more money. Now, before I get started, having a $20 million contract compared to a $50 million contract is really just, maybe it's just, I haven't had that much money, but what is $30 extra million going to buy you? More boats, more cars, a bigger house? It's mind-blowing. But, and I don't want to give me that principle debate. Well, it's the principle that matters that they need because of how well they played. $20 million is still a lot of money, and they'll be fine, and their family's going to be fine for the rest of their lives. But to get into this about the NBA contracts and the NFL contracts, it really comes down to a very simple thing that some people like to disregard for some reason. You look at, the players, how many players there are compared to the NFL and the NBA. I mean, it makes up for this. 2,000 NFL players on team payrolls. 500 players on NBA payrolls. We're not even counting the coaches. I mean, you only got 5 to 8 coaches in basketball, maybe 8, maybe that's probably stretching it. And then in the NFL, you have a good 12 to 20 coaches because there's analysts, there's all the other coaches that are out there. I mean, that also adds into it. So when people bring up the NFL revenue and how it just outsources the NBA, I mean, it's incredible how much there is. It's just, it doesn't, that money's going elsewhere. So when players say, well, shouldn't the NFL revenues matter? I mean, you look at last year, the NBA had $94 million in salary cap. That's just a quarter of the players that the NFL has, which had $155 million salary cap, which is not good for the NFL players. Oakland Raiders quarterback Derek Carr signed a big deal last week. Out of that, check this out, $125 million really translates to $47.5 million over the next 2 seasons. And then it becomes, we'll see, what's guaranteed and what's not. Now, the NFL players are annoyed hearing the average salary of NBA players, which is about $6.2 million last season, compared to the average $2.1 million that the NFL gets. Broncos receiver Emmanuel Sanders, he went off and tweeted, "Looks like I chose the wrong sport." Then recently retired Colts punter Pat McAfee, he tweeted, "Hey, NFLPA, let's chat with the folks at NBAPA ASAP." One of the things that we have to look at, and really for the players to put in perspective, in 2003, the NFL co-MVPs were the Tennessee Titans quarterback Steve McNair and Indianapolis Colts quarterback Peyton Manning, both of which were making $8 million a year. Now, in 2017, there are 14 quarterbacks that are going to be making over $20 million. Now, the salary cap for the NFL increases. The NBA has skyrocketed over the past 2 years, from $63 million in 2015 to $94 million last season, and now $99 million for this upcoming season. There's been an increase of 57% in just the 2 years as the NBA's television contracts have been kicked up from the league's total revenue. So, overall, for the NBA players, they're happy, of course. The NFL players, I just don't know what to say. You've got plenty of money. And I know it's like, well, we're playing at a high level. The injury, the chances of that, maybe there should be a little bit of bump. But at the same time, there are 14 quarterbacks that are going to make $20 million. Maybe what we're really looking at is who should get paid what. And really setting the difference of your good elite players who should be making maybe that $20 million a year. I don't know if anybody should, but them making that much compared to your average players, because we've got many quarterbacks. So those out of that 14, you probably name about 4 or 5 of them that are elite, and everybody else is about average to good making that much money. Maybe we need to change how the contracts are set up for NFL players so the elite players, who are usually the ones complaining, get paid the good money. And everybody who's kind of average and good, it's like, well, you got to work your way up. So overall, what have we learned here? Very simple. Teach your kids basketball. Spend more time with them playing basketball and baseball. And, let the money go from there. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy to think that people who are making over 4 years have already made over $20 million. And yet they're complaining when they see an NBA player get a contract, which, don't get me wrong. Some of the contracts, again, in the NBA, some of the guys that are making ridiculous amount of money, and they're not even all-star. Like, I remember last season, the one that stood out to me was, can't think of his first name. Last name, Nueva. Am I right here? He used to play for the Cavaliers. He went to the Bucks. I think he ended up even getting traded this past offseason, or this past season. Anyways, this guy, not all-star whatsoever, never will be. An average player, a good backup, right? I think he ended up starting for Milwaukee because, he went to freaking Milwaukee. But a backup at best on a solid team, and even as a starter on a bad team, this guy made a tremendous amount of money. A ridiculous amount of money. Matthew Dellavedova, is that his name? We'll look it up here. Matthew Dellavedova, whatever. This guy, his contract, jeez, where are you? Where's your contract? That's the one that stood out to me. Okay, yeah, 4 years, $38 million last season, right? For a guy who really isn't that good. Okay, well, this is taking too slow to load up. But anyways, still, I think that's a little too much for a guy like him. And so when you see other players like you had Sammy Watkins tweet out that the 2014 class could change how players get paid, and there's a really good chance that the class of 2014 for the NFL could change the way players get paid. You got to look at the guys that they have. You have Mike Evans, and of course the main star of that class Odell Beckham and seeing what his contract will get. We already saw his endorsement deal with Nike, over $100 million with that. I mean, we could have. I mean, I don't want to just. I'm gonna throw it out there. Over $100 million total deal. Actually, yeah, it will be. It will be over $101 million for Odell Beckham when it's time for him to get his contract done. It's crazy. I mean, the class of 2014 also had Derek Carr, which we just saw him again getting a $125 million deal. We saw Khalil Mack, he'll get one. These guys are getting loaded with cash, and it'll continue to grow. But I think the real problem is just what type of athlete gets paid what money. Not this market thing of, okay, well, the average quarterback here is getting this much. I mean, because those numbers are going to fluctuate year in and year out. Great players get the great money. Good players get good money. Average players, you're going to get your average money. And that should be kind of low. But, we'll see. We'll see. So, like I said earlier in the show, something that's very interesting here, and I have an interesting little take on this, and I want to hear other perspectives. Now, Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is being accused of using a machine to sign his autographs from a memorabilia company instead of signing by hand. Now, the company is Beckett Grading Services, which evaluates and values trading cards. They have refused to verify the Dallas Cowboys quarterback signature in his recent card set. Their principal authenticator at Beckett, Steve Grad, said, quote, "They had a very machine feel feel, excuse me. You could see the starts and stops," end quote. This is my whole thing on it. Okay. If this, for hand-signed memorabilia, if it is not a game-worn jersey or a real-sized helmet, not a mini helmet, but the real ones, something game-worn or something that's going to charity or a big auction, look, it doesn't matter if it's that should be hand-signed. One, because it's a lot less items. I mean, think about it. For this card set, there's probably over 50,000 cards. Minimum, I'm just guessing. Maybe 25,000. If we want to go in the low ball, 25,000 cards of Dak Prescott. And I really feel like it's a lot more than that, but we'll just go with 25,000. You're telling me he's got to sign that 25,000 times? And now, of course, people are going to say, well, he signed a contract. He's supposed to sign it by hand, and he's getting paid for doing it. That is true, but that's also 25,000 times you're writing your name in just a very short time span. Of course, it's not all in one day. It's not all in 1 week. It's probably over a month or two to get it done. But it's a little ridiculous. And for me, if I'm buying what is going to be a $3, maybe $10 card, or a $25 mini helmet, or a $50 poster, I am not going to care if he actually signed it or if it was kind of used a machine. It's not that big of a deal. It really shouldn't be, because again, it is just a $10 card at most, a $25 helmet, a $50 poster. I mean, what do you expect? Again, if it's a game-worn jersey, if it's something for charity, if it's something for an auction, yes, I want that to be hand-signed by that athlete. Because, one, the price is much more expensive. It's going to a good cause. I mean, those should be the reasons you want it. But for something that's going to be a little card that you're going to put in your little binder, or you might hang it on your wall somehow, or put it on your desk or whatnot, come on, dude. Seriously? Is it really going to matter that it was hand-signed by him? I don't know. That's my whole thing. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Again, it's just for some cards. Whether he used it. If he did, and I had that card, I would have been like, that's cool. Because again, at most, I paid $10 for a little card. And really, should you really pay $10 for a card? I mean, come on now. I mean, do you really need it that bad? If a little picture, you just go on Google, print out a picture yourself, Photoshop his signature. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking in 30-35, and other people are still stuck in, whenever. But let me know in the comment section down below. Tweet me at Short Sports Show and become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. It's just a tad bit ridiculous. Now, the Cowboys have also dealt with some other drama. This is a little bit more real, actually a lot more real. and something they will actually have to take action on. Their linebacker, Damian Wilson, who was expected to be a starter in 2017 after a strong ending of 2016, well, he was arrested on Tuesday night and charged with 2 accounts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon after he allegedly backed his car into a woman and then brandished a rifle in Frisco, Texas, according to their police. Now, according to that report, the 24-year-old Wilson was arrested after, quote, he intentionally backed his truck into a female while parking. He then brandished a rifle at another male, causing him to be in fear, end quote. Now, this is not the first Cowboy to be arrested this offseason. Cornerback Nolan Carroll was charged with a DWI in late May, and when he was driving on the wrong side of the road. This guy hasn't even played a down for the Cowboys. He was just signed, and he already got arrested. I mean, the Cowboys have to have some type of rule where you got to play a snap before you can get arrested for the Cowboys, right? Am I right here? Sorry, okay, that was dumb. But anyways, yeah, he's already facing a potential 2-game suspension under the league's substance abuse policy. Luckily, could go more than that, and probably, whatever else he has to deal with. But whatever happens with Damian Wilson, this could be a lot worse. Showing off a gun that you are kind of saying like, hey, back up or I will shoot you, even though you're in the wrong. And then backing up your truck to hit a woman intentionally, that's not going to go very well for you. Again, he was expected to be a starter, and both of these guys were expected to be starters in 2017. Likely not anymore. But hopefully this opens up the door for former TCU linebacker and former Arizona Cardinals linebacker Darrell Washington, who also had his off-the-field issues, but it looks like he's fixed it after being out of the league for a couple years. Been some links to him for the Cowboys. Hopefully he can get at least a workout in and potentially go play for the Cowboys. Russell Wilson, he's going back to his roots, and I think this is great. And actually, it's very innovative here with how academies are going to go. Now, have you seen any of his mini documentaries or his interviews beginning when he first came into the league? He often talked about his early interactions and his experience at the Peyton Manning Passing Academy. Now, inspired by that same experience, he's now creating his own quarterback academy along with his former teammate Jake Heaps to create the Russell Wilson Quarterback Academy. Great name, right? Now he's looking to do that year round. A lot of these academies, couple days out of the a random week or in the summer, something like that. He's actually looking to be really innovative with this, and I like how this is potentially going to work out. He said, quote, our thought process is to be able to consistently teach kids the quarterback position at a high level, not just have a camp that's one-day camp, but also an opportunity to give them training lessons, one-on-one lessons, private sessions, on-the-field training, and elite summer camps with some of the best kids in the country training with us, and also have a classroom training, end quote. Now, he'll be traveling to China next week in partner with Nike and some other company. As a part of that trip, Russell Wilson said he's going to be checking out sites for potential quarterback camp there next year. So he's going to go internationally. I mean, he's going everywhere with this, which is kind of cool. He went on to say, quote, one of the things that Jake and I both talked about is that we need to make 60 kids turn into 60,000 kids, and that's 60,000 quarterbacks around the country. Now, the thing is, this isn't really that expensive if all holds true of what he's trying to do here. I mean, you look at all these other little camps that usually have like 500 kids go to it, and they're promised one-on-one training, they never really get it, or they'll get, hey, good job, and that's your one-on-one. For this price, and usually those are pretty expensive. Now, for this isn't that bad. Prices for packages listed on the company's website range from $125 to $300. That's not bad at all for a year-round type of thing. And of course, it's going to depend on the packages and what you get. It probably could go up to $1,000, but really to be training and have on the field and also kind of like online training classroom sessions with learning from Russell Wilson and other quarterbacks and other resourcing coaches, that's not a bad deal at all. Now, the participants can be as young as 10 years old or as old as 22. Your boy's turning 21 next month, so I mean, I might have to go step in and be get some quarterback. I don't know. I might do it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have the money. College and other bills and stuff like that. I can't do it. But Russell Wilson, if you're watching this, you can have a talk show host. I can help. Do some media stuff for you. I can participate. Got a pretty solid arm on my eye. Just follow me on Instagram. You see my arm. It's pretty solid. Been throwing some spirals. Anyways, Wilson said he won't always be on the field, of course, especially during the season, which is kind of obvious. But again, he said he'll add other ways that he'll be able to connect with them, which I think is very interesting. One such example Wilson offered was that him or Jake Heaps, which wasn't a bad quarterback when he was at BYU. Once he transferred to like 5 other schools, he kind of became kind of trash. But said him or Heaps working in the classroom with a group of students while others are connected virtually through their computers and tablets or phones is one way of working, which I think is very smart. And I like this. I like this by Russell Wilson. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Also tweet me at Short Sports Show. But yeah, I mean, $125 or $300 for all of that year round, even at $1,000 at most, parents will make it happen for their kids. And this is really a great opportunity. So if you do have a kid or you're, 22 or younger, it might not be a bad deal. It might not be a bad deal to see how this works out with, some of the one-on-one sessions on the field, the camps. Could be great exposure. And you never know, other college coaches might get into it because it's kind of their way of free recruiting. That they can go out there and kind of watch and help out. I think it's a smart thing. And if the NFL, Kid 60 thing wants to pick it up too, kind of partner with them for more funding and also kind of just finding locations, wouldn't be a bad thing. Wouldn't be a bad thing whatsoever. But good job. Good guy, Russell Wilson. Good guy, Russell. That is it for this week's show. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button if you're brand new to this show. Also subscribe to us on YouTube, The Short Sports Show. Again, all links are in the description down below. And be sure to go give us a rating on iTunes. It helps me out a lot. We've been getting actually small little growth there, which I appreciate. It's been a little bit growing up there, but if we can get some ratings, your boy will be happy. So again, I appreciate you guys listening. As always, I will see you guys next week. God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.